Today we're working on a very useful little group of Spanish past tense verbs: dar, ver, caer, creer, leer, oír, construir, and incluir. These are the kinds of verbs that pop up in real life all the time. You gave something, you saw something, something fell, you read a message, you heard a noise. So this lesson is practical from the very first minute. And here's the good news. There's a pattern. Actually, there are two main patterns, and once you hear them a few times, they start to stick. First pattern, dar and ver are short, very common verbs, and in the simple past, they look a little unusual. Dar becomes di, diste, dio, dimos, dieron. Ver becomes vi, viste, vio, vimos, vieron. Notice something nice? No accent marks there. Short and punchy. Di, vi, dio, vio. Second pattern, verbs like caer, creer, leer, oír, construir, and incluir have that Y sound in some past forms. You'll hear cayó, creyeron, leo, oyeron, construyó, incluyeron. That Y is your clue. If the verb has a vowel meeting another vowel in a form like that, Spanish often slides in a Y to keep things smooth. Let's make this feel easy. Think of dar and ver as the tiny rebels. They're small verbs and their past forms are also small. Di, vi, no accent, no drama, tiny rebels. Then think of caer, creer, leer, oír, construir, incluir as the Y family in the past. When they move, they often move with a Y. Cayó, creyó, leo, oyó, construyó, incluyó. Let's start with dar, to give. In real conversation, you'll often hear little sentences like di un regalo, gave a gift, or le di las llaves, I gave him or her the keys. That little le means to him or to her. Super common. How do you say I gave him the book yesterday in Spanish? Le di el libro ayer. Le di el libro ayer. Perfect. Le di el libro ayer. Notice we don't need to say yo here. In Spanish, the verb di already tells us it's I gave. Now, one very common mistake. Learners sometimes want to say yo dio or yo dio. Not quite. It's just di, no accent, and dio, also no accent. A good memory trick. Dar in the past likes to travel light. No accent baggage. Let's try ver, to see. Vi means I saw, and vimos means we saw. Careful, vimos looks exactly like we see in the present for ver. Actually, ver in the present is vemos, so that helps. Vimos is clearly past. How do you say, we saw the movie last night? Vimos la película anoche. Vimos la película anoche. Nice. Vimos la película anoche. And anoche is a great word to remember. Last night. Very handy, very natural. Here's a tiny side note. In Spanish, you usually say ver una película, literally to see a movie, not watch a movie in the way English often says it. So if you're translating from English, don't overthink it. Vimos la película is exactly right. Now let's move into the Y family with caer, to fall. This one is very common because things fall all the time. Phones fall, keys fall, people drop stuff. Gravity is very committed. The key form to hear is cayó. He, she, or it fell. Caí means I fell. Caíste, you fell. Cayeron, they fell. So you get both patterns here. Some forms with an accent on E, like caí, and some with Y, like cayó. El teléfono cayó al suelo. El teléfono cayó al suelo. Excellent. El teléfono cayó al suelo. You may also hear en el suelo sometimes. But al suelo, to the floor, sounds very natural here. Quick memory trick. If you hear that strong yo sound in English, fell, maybe imagine the Spanish answer landing with Y as well. Cayó. Not a perfect science, but a nice little hook. Now, creer, to believe. In the past, creyó, believed, and creyeron, believed. Very useful in conversation. For example, creí que era tarde. I thought it was late. Literally, I believed that it was late. Spanish uses creer in places where English often says think. How do you say, she believed me in Spanish? Me creyó. Me creyó. Good. Me creyó. Short, simple, useful. And notice that me comes before the verb. Spanish loves these little object words before the verb. Mi, te, le. Let's connect that with everyday speech. If someone finally accepts your wild story about traffic, you can say, por fin me creyó. She finally believed me. A little dramatic? Maybe. Memorable? Absolutely. Now leer, to read. This one matters because messages, menus, emails, signs, articles, all of that is daily life Spanish. In the past, leí, I read. Leyó, he or she read. Leyeron, they read. How do you say, I read the email this morning? Leí el correo esta mañana. Leí el correo esta mañana. Exactly. Leí el correo esta mañana. You could also say el email in some places, but el correo is a nice solid everyday option. Common mistake here. Don't say leo for I read in the past. Leo is present. I read, as in I read regularly. Leí is past. I read this morning. That accent on e matters. Leí. Now oír, to hear. This verb is close to escuchar, to listen, but they're not identical. Oír is to hear, more automatic. Escuchar is to listen, more intentional. In the past, oí, I heard. Oyó, he or she heard. Oyeron, they heard. How do you say I heard a strange noise in Spanish? Oí un ruido extraño. Oí un ruido extraño. Very good. Oí un ruido extraño. Ruido is noise, and extraño means strange. Useful little combo. Now one tiny pronunciation note. Oí has two clear vowel sounds. O-E. Don't crush it into one syllable. Let it breathe a little. Oí. Next up, construir, to build. In the past, construí, construyó, construyeron. Another member of the Y family. This is a great one because once you learn construir, incluir behaves very similarly. How do you say they built a house here in Spanish? Construyeron una casa aquí. Construyeron una casa aquí. Nice. Construyeron una casa aquí. And aquí means here. Simple and high frequency. A quick pattern tip. If you can say construyeron, you're already close to incluyeron. Same rhythm, same family feeling. So let's take incluir, to include. In the past, incluí, incluyó, incluyeron. How do you say the price included breakfast in Spanish? El precio incluyó el desayuno. El precio incluyó el desayuno. Perfect. El precio incluyó el desayuno. That's travel Spanish right there. Very useful in hotels, tours, bookings, all that good stuff. Let's do a quick ear training recap by grouping them. Tiny rebels, dar and ver. Di, diste, dio, dimos, dieron. Vi, viste, vio, vimos, vieron. No accent marks. Keep them light. Y family, caer, creer, leer, oír, construir, incluir. Cayó, creyó, leyó, oyó, construyó, incluyó. And plural forms like cayeron, creyeron, leyeron, oyeron, construyeron, incluyeron. Here's another trick. If the verb feels like it has two vowels rubbing shoulders in the infinitive or stem, there's a decent chance the past forms you use a lot will show that Y somewhere. Leer to leyó, oír to oyó, construir to construyó. Don't try to calculate too much in real time. Just let your ear get used to the family resemblance. Now let's mix them naturally. How do you say I saw it but I didn't hear it in Spanish? Lo vi, pero no lo oí. Lo vi, pero no lo oí. Excellent. Lo vi, pero no lo oí. That little lo means it. Very common, very useful. How do you say she read the message and believed it in Spanish? Leyó el mensaje y lo creyó. Leyó el mensaje y lo creyó. Very nice. Leyó el mensaje y lo creyó. You could also often say le creyó if you mean she believed him or her. Lo is it, le is to him or her. Tiny word, big difference. How do you say the glass fell but it didn't break in Spanish? El vaso cayó, pero no se rompió. El vaso cayó, pero no se rompió. Great. We slipped in rompió there from romper, broke. That one is outside today's main set, but it fits the story and helps you speak more naturally. Before we finish, let's hit the biggest mistakes to avoid. First, don't add accents to d, dio, v, or vio. It's d, dio, v, vio. Second, don't forget the y in forms like cayó, leyó, oyó, construyó, incluyó, and especially the they forms. Cayeron, leyeron, oyeron, construyeron, incluyeron. Third, watch the difference between present and past. Leo is I read, regularly or now. Leí is I read, in the past. Oigo is I hear now. Oí is I heard. And fourth, don't panic if you don't remember every full chart. At A2, what matters most is recognizing and using the common forms that come up all the time. Di, vi, cayó, creyó, leí, oí, construyó, incluyó, and their plural partners like vieron, leyeron, oyeron, construyeron, incluyeron. Let's do one last fast recap together. Dar, di, ver, vi, caer, cayó, creer, creyó, leer, leyó, oír, oyó, construir, construyó, incluir, incluyó. Tiny rebels and the Y family. That's the big picture. And look at what you can already say. Le di el libro ayer. Vimos la película anoche. El teléfono cayó al suelo. Leí el correo esta mañana. Construyeron una casa aquí. That's real Spanish. Useful Spanish. The kind you'll actually hear and use. Keep listening for these forms when you watch shows, hear stories, or read simple texts. The more often your ear catches di, vi, cayó, leyó, oyó, the more natural they'll feel. You're doing well. Seriously, these past tense forms can look slippery at first, but now you've got a map, a few memory tricks, and a growing instinct for the pattern. Keep going, and next time these verbs show up, you won't just recognize them,